Liverpool mark their return to Europe's top table with victory over old rivals AC Milan on match day 1. Arne Slot in his programme notes tonight says he's heard all about the great moments and great nights in Europe at Anfield. Well, now Liverpool's head coach gets to experience it all for himself. It is match day 2 of this season's Champions League. Can Liverpool make it 2 victories from 2 against Champions League new boys Bologna? It is an 8 o'clock kickoff here at Anfield tonight. Very good evening to you. Welcome along to Matchday Live outside on a lovely autumn evening. Just about at the moment here in Paisley Square. We'll get the thoughts of Jay Spearing and Jason McAteer very shortly, but first let's get the team news from Peter McDowell.
Yeah, good news first in that Andrew Robertson is fine after limping out of that game at Bologna at the weekend. Diogo Jota had missed a couple of sessions during the week. He is fine. And also Darwin Núñez back from illness as well. So, as you've seen before, he doesn't make widespread changes to any of his matchday squads at the moment. Arne Slot doesn't have Chiesa available, as you know. Not expecting that to be too long. But he makes just one change to that team from the weekend tonight. And it comes probably as a precaution. Diogo Jota dropping out to the bench and Darwin Núñez presumably starting in that 9 position for Liverpool here tonight. So let's confirm that team in full for you then. And it's a birthday 50th European appearance for Alisson Becker, who of course continues in goal now. He's back fit again. Virgil van Dijk, who surpassed 50 games in European competitions for Liverpool now against AC Milan, partnered by Ibu Konate. Diaz, Szoboszlai continue as well. Núñez back after illness, kept him out of that game at Wolves. And then Salah, with every week there comes a new record. He's got 8 in 8 in Champions League football. He's got 47 in 76 in Europe as well. Robertson, as I say, is fit and able to start. Gravenberch and Trent Alexander-Arnold continue also as well, and they complete the 11 for Liverpool. A couple of goalkeepers on the bench. Keller, who's won off 50 Liverpool games now. Jaros is the other sub-goalkeeper. And as mentioned before, Diogo Jota makes the bench, as does Trey Naoni as well, missing from that under-19 squad a little bit earlier on. Well, Arne Slot has been asked quite a few times this week about how much he's looking forward to this place in a Champions League night. He says he's more interested in seeing how much his players have missed this competition, and he's hoping to see a real performance this evening.
Pete, thank you very much indeed. It is one change for Liverpool then this evening. It is good evening to Jay and to Jason.
How are you?
All well, yourself?
You look like you've come straight off the Dunhill links there.
man on the 18th tee, yeah. We said there that it was a good start, Jason, to the Champions League campaign, to go behind in Milan. Now, the first taste for Arne Slot of an Anfield night. You would expect Liverpool to go 2 from 2, wouldn't you?
You would expect it. I would certainly treat this game with respect, as we seen last season with Atalanta. You know, the Italian teams, certainly the ones who have been building for a few years, are now starting to come to the forefront. Gasperini's done a fantastic job with Atalanta. We'll talk obviously about Bologna, but it's a team to be respected. But to go back to the Milan game, yeah, it was a great opening fixture. Listen, a big fixture, a glamorous fixture. I know it was away, bad start from Liverpool, but the response was absolutely fantastic and exactly what you need in the Champions League to get off to a flyer.
There is a lot of discussion, Jay, as to what sort of points tally you might need to get yourselves through in that first 8. I guess the simple and easy thing is, win your first 3 or 4 and pretty much get the job done.
Yeah, it was a real key probably talking point, because the old format, you're probably thinking you maybe get to 9 or 10 and you're guaranteed maybe, obviously, if a few results go your way, it could be a little bit less, but this one no one's got any idea of what it's going to take to finish in that top 8, especially because you don't want them added games added onto that. So you have to win your first couple of games, and a fantastic start like Jason said at AC away, but you have to win your home games. These are crucial games now coming into it, and we have to show Bologna a lot of respect, but we have to go there and we try and have to get 3 points.
To touch on that as well, Rob, I think when the draw come out, although there was some very glamorous and tough ties to Liverpool, actually the home ties were the ones that Liverpool wanted. As Jay said, it's really important to win your home games. The games here, they're the ones you'd expect Liverpool to win, to obviously collect the points that will get them through into that 8 position.
There have been a lot of pats on the back for Liverpool in the early stages of the season. Arne Slot has been pretty cautious. We'll talk about him dampening expectations in the Premier League, but one thing he does say is this club last year didn't have Champions League. They were able to rotate a lot in the Europa League, particularly during the group stages. Therefore, are you surprised at all to see just one change tonight?
Yes, but also no. I think if you look at Arne Slot's history of being a Feyenoord, and they were obviously in the Champions League as well, I believe that he kept the team quite formatted. They never made many changes. They always like to play the same players in and on a weekly basis. The team are playing well at the minute. I know obviously Wolves is maybe one that we can maybe talk about a little bit later on, what we feel about that game, but to get partnerships, to build relationships, as you can see on the team now, I'm probably not surprised there's not many changes, and I think people will get an opportunity when the time's right with the amount of games that we've got.
I think we have to also take into account it's his first year and it's a learning curve. When you've had 3 or 4 seasons, as Jurgen did his tenure, you get to know the teams and you get to know the quality of the opposition in the Premier League, and you have more faith in your squad where you rotate and you trust your players. He is very consistent. Jay's right, he's very consistent at Feyenoord and he's been very consistent here. Unfortunately, I hope that doesn't come to bite him kind of on the backside later on in the season. It did Jurgen in his first season. I know he came in halfway through, but the first full season, he got to around January after picking a consistent team, and I think he went 3 or 4 games, 3 or 4 victories in the 10 games he had after Christmas. So that's where they fell flat, because they just ran out of steam. Jurgen learned the lesson that you need to rotate. It's not just cup games, you've got to trust the squad in Premier League games as well.
Therefore then, as a coaching group, how far ahead do you think he will be thinking? Because other than international breaks, depending on whether they get through that Carabao Cup tie against Brighton, it is going to be midweek weekend from now until the new year. So how far do you think Arne Slot will be thinking ahead about his teams?
I can't see him looking too far ahead. I think he's a new manager, just like Jason said. I think he's going to have to take game by game. This is his first taste of Anfield atmosphere in the Champions League night. That's probably why it doesn't surprise me that he's made many changes. He wants to get off to a good start. He wants to show the fans that he's taking it serious. But also the fact that, I think he'll be taking game by game. Obviously there's a 12:30 kick-off come Saturday, which, we all love it. We all love getting. And will there be changes then? I'd probably think there'll be a few changes come the weekend. But for me, this is the most important one now, and I probably think he's looking as far as this evening.
He's not walked in and gone, right, we're going to play exactly the same as Jurgen Klopp, so you all know what you're doing and go on. And the other thing, like Jay said, is he's had to get off to a flyer, really. I mean, he's filled big shoes. Usually when a manager comes into a football club, there's something gone wrong and he's in there to improve it and change it. There wasn't much to change here. He's got to put his own identity on that, and that is doing it tactically. And to do that, you need to pick a consistent team in games, because they need to feel the atmosphere, they need to be here. It's all right doing it on the training pitch, but you need that consistent team to learn the tactics and how your philosophy and how you want to play in a real game environment. So it's very difficult for him to find the balance at the minute.
It's interesting as well that the one area where he has tweaked more than any other is the front three. You would suspect that one changes because Jota is not quite fit, but he's in a good place in that all 5 of those main forwards, and even you would say Chiesa in that one cup game, looking quite good nick at the moment.
I think that every single one of them's probably got a right to say that they should play, and even Cody Gakpo as well, because when he's come on and he played obviously against AC Milan away, I thought he was outstanding. And even Jota, he came back, and in this game here, the Carabao Cup game, I felt as in Jota started so well. The form fell off a little bit, but not obviously, still working hard for the team. This for me was probably a little bit of a proving point to say, listen, I'm still in the firing line, I can still score goals, I can still help this team. We've seen obviously he started again the weekend, but every single one of them's got the right to play at the minute, but they're all giving the manager a real difficult decision to make. You know, and that's all you can do as a player. As a player, all you can do is really put a question in his mind. Do you know what? You know, he deserves to play. Should I? Shouldn't I? And really cause a problem to make him think. You know, Jason knows just as much as anybody that, you know, if you put pressure on the manager, it's for him to decide. But you've got to be ready at any time to whenever you're called upon.
Sorry, he's blessed in that area. You're right. He is blessed in that area. And Jay's right. You know, they're all individually top players themselves, and all deserve the right to start, and they'll all think they should. Competition for places is fantastic, but they need game time, they need minutes. You don't want to lose them as a new manager. You want to keep them involved, you want to make them feel like they're part of it. I know Nunes has been in and out the team, done well, got his goal in the cup game, but there's got to be that point where he rotates it in Premier League games, not only to rest a few players, but also to say to the squad, listen, I trust you. Jürgen had full trust. I remember, I don't know if it was with you, I think it was the derby we had here, and we come back off an international break, and we named the team, and there was about 7 changes, you know, and we went, whoa, and we thought we could get done here. They went out and they won the game. You've got to trust the whole squad. That will come, but that is an area that he's blessed in, yeah.
So Arne Slot prepares to face Italian opposition for the 13th time in Europe tonight. He will hope that is not an unlucky number. What wouldn't be an unlucky number is 8 wins in 9 games in all competitions. He could become the first Liverpool manager to do that tonight, and he can't wait for his first taste of a European night at Anfield.
I'm privileged enough to work at Feyenoord, where Champions League nights last season were also really, really special. People tell me it's going to be even more special over here tomorrow. So what I expect from our players, they've missed out on Champions League for a year. So when they step out on the pitch tomorrow, I want to see this. I want to feel this, that they feel like, we missed this for a season. Now, a club of this standards, we have to be ready. And I'm hoping and expecting the same from our fans. They've missed out on Champions League for a season. And I'm hoping that they feel this desire to show to Europe again, you missed us because of this. And that combination should lead to hopefully a very special night for everyone that's involved in Liverpool.
Good afternoon. Bologna is definitely the underdog for this match. What did you learn about the Italian team studying it? What's your main concern about the match for tomorrow?
I think Bologna showed last season and this season again that they're a real difficult team to beat, because everybody's telling me they only won once. Yeah, but then I'll tell everyone they only lost once. So that means it's a difficult team to beat, and we as Liverpool know how difficult it can be to play against a team that's man-marking all over the pitch, which is what Bologna does and what Atalanta did here last season. So we don't underestimate them at all, because also that's not what they deserve for the way they played last season and even this season.
I'm interested in something you said after the game against Wolves, in which you were unhappy with the final minutes of the game in particular, which kind of surprised me, because I don't think Wolves had a shot on goal after the 75th minute. So I'm wondering if your unhappiness is more to do with the missed opportunities on the break to go out and kill the game, and how important you think maintaining an attacking threat is when you're trying to protect a slender lead in a game like that.
It's exactly what you say. We haven't conceded anything in the last 15 minutes, but we lost in promising situations. We lost the ball before it led to a chance, and we lost the ball a few times really easy before it even got to a promising situation. And I think we as a team, if you have that much quality, we cannot accept mediocrity. Is that? Yes. Yeah. You have to ask from yourself every second of the day, every second of the game, the highest standards that this shirt brings. And we as a staff have to set those standards very clear. And that 15 minutes where we lost the ball so many times in promising position, or moments that could lead to promising positions, is, maybe not acceptable is the word to use. Yeah.
You mentioned then that you won't accept mediocrity. So how do you get that message across to the players? What did you say to them? And do you lose your temper in that situation? Do you get angry with the players?
That differs, of course. I don't lose my temper that much, and I don't think it's a good idea to lose your temper every single day, because then players at a certain moment feel like, there he is again screaming at us. So that doesn't work. I think it's better to show them the actual things they do. But the positive thing about this group is that maybe I don't accept mediocrity, but these players themselves don't accept it as well. So even after the game, I saw 1 or 2 players, maybe a few more even, that were also frustrated, not only about the last 15 minutes, but also about the way we started the game. that was not of the standards I'm expecting from a Liverpool team or from these players. So yeah, it's not only about me not accepting it, the players don't accept it from themselves as well.
Alexis was in here just a minute ago, and he spoke in one answer about having freedom, and then also spoke about the structure in the team. I'm just wondering how you apply that to the team and to players in terms of where they fit in the structure and what freedom you give them within that structure.
It's nice that he says this, because this is also what I'm looking for, that they feel there is structure, but if they only feel structure, they could feel like, oh, we have to do exactly what he says all the time, which they have to do when we don't have the ball. So when we don't have the ball, there's no room for freedom. Then it's just hard work and do what you have to do within the structure. But when we have the ball, especially in the last third of the pitch, then yeah, we also rely on the individual quality. We bring them as much as we can in certain positions, which comes from structure. But then it has a lot to do with the individual quality of the players, and they should feel freedom, even though they might not have it that much as he thinks he has. But it's good that they feel it that way. Yeah.
It's been interesting listening to Arne Slot so far during his time at Liverpool, that he has sort of dampened expectations a little bit. He said he didn't want to do that in his programme notes. Go on. Managed yeah.
Or dampened. What are you going for? Dampened?
Well,
okay.
But the one thing you'd say is that in terms of particularly the opposition, he does have a point that Liverpool's Premier League start could have been a lot tougher, couldn't it? And they are 5 from 6 is probably bare minimum as where you'd expect them to be, actually.
Yeah, you just didn't know, though, did you? Because losing the manager, you know, expectations were, yeah, maybe dampened then. Yeah, okay.
I knew you'd come round to my way of thinking.
You have to be what's in front of you. You know, the Premier League isn't an easy league. You know, anybody on their day, you know, can turn up and do like a Forest and sit back and get us on the counter-attack. For me, Liverpool have had to beat what's in front of them. I think it's a brand new manager. It's all right. It's not an unbelievable brand new way of playing, but there's a lot of new different tactics. You know, a lot of Jurgen Klopp was out of possession, on the front foot, pressing, getting in people's faces, winning it back high. Arne wants to be more on the ball. Like, you know, we're not rigid, but, you know, the rotations are, patience, the rotations are quite, you know, there to be seen by everybody. But, you know, so Liverpool for me have had to beat what's in front of them. Okay, we haven't had, you know, the Cities, the Arsenals, but I still see us being around it. Yeah,
sorry, just to touch on that, I thought the first game against Ipswich, listen, I never really look into that. Club coming up, you know, away as well. I actually think that was a good result. First half, it was a tough 45, but then they figured it out and the quality came through in the end. You know, I thought the Manchester United game would be a good indication of where we may be, and it just wasn't that. You know, it just proved that Manchester United, well, it's just still rubbish, to want of a better word.
Well put.
So it was difficult to gauge where Liverpool were at, but Jay's right. You know, they played really well in spells. We've not had that full 90 minutes where we've gone, yeah.
And you wouldn't expect that, would you?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet, but it's coming. Someone's going to get a right good hiding. You can see it. Listen, there's loads of quality. Everyone's believing in the manager, and that's down to results. But Jay's right, you've got to beat what's put in front of you. And, you know, there's an opportunity there for Liverpool this season. If it's managed properly, is in the sense of the rotation and, you know, at right times picking teams when we play them. Listen, Manchester City, we don't know what's going to happen. Obviously the Chargers have opened up. They've lost Rodri. They don't look as sharp as what they have done in the past. Arsenal look ready, and you know, it's when we get them, you know, off the back of a break or off the back of a tough Champions League maybe for them, and we play. I'm not too sure. I've got to see the fixtures, but there's something definitely there for us.
Just on the point about the changes, the difference between Jurgen Klopp and Arne Slot, and I know we don't want to talk about that too much, but from someone who's in and around the training ground who watches his sessions, what would you say the big differences are in the type of training that he does, the way he conducts himself compared to Jurgen?
I think, you know, every manager, and Jason will know exactly the same, every manager does things different. Jurgen was one being very fortunate enough to go and see training quite a lot. Pep Linders and Vitor were the ones who took a lot of training. Jurgen was one that would like stand back and watch, but when the manager wanted to say something, he would step in and, you know, put his point across clear to everybody to hear. This for me, the big change that I've seen is that, you know, you've got Johnny Heitinga, you've got Sepke, they are starting sessions, but then the manager will step in and will take large parts of training, and he's really, really detailed in what he wants, he's clear in what he wants. if there's a practice what he sees that he doesn't like, it's stopped. He'll point out names of the biggest players, Mohamed Salah's, the Trent Alexander-Arnold's. He's not afraid to point people out. And you know what? I think it's a real. Listen, for me, Jürgen was unbelievable in his time, and what he did for this football club. Nobody can ever take that away. But it is a nice little bit of fresh air. Like a new change of a new manager to come in and give the players a new a little lease of life.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there more? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Oh God, there we go.
No, I know.
Maybe you can't ask a question. Absolutely.
Maybe not on the training pitch, but is there more sort of tactical analysis and videos and stuff than what Jürgen?
There's an incredible amount. Every single session day before training there's meetings. All pre-season before every single session was a meeting. They then go the next day, look over training. They would look at people's body language. They'd look at people running back. They'd look at people pressing. They'd look at the session of how they think it went, and it was all lights would come down and point at people, so there's nowhere to hide. And that's young lads as well, by the way, not just the biggest players in the world. They will point out every single player. And
you as an aspiring coach, obviously Jürgen was fantastic. Are you taking stuff from Slot
100%.
As well as
of course you would. I have to go and find my. In the long run, for me, it's going to be a long case if I want to find out how I want to do things. But to see what Jürgen does, to see what Arne does, to see so close to how they do things and how they run things, and how the players buy into what they've got. It's an incredible insight to try and think, I could rob that. Maybe I could take that. I could take this and take other things.
Any more? Are you two finished?
Sorry,
I'd love to go. Took me long enough to get here, and I can't get a word in edgeways. Thank you very much.
You're on the tee in half an hour.
Let's get inside the ground, shall we? Because live audio commentary of Liverpool against Bologna, 8 o'clock tonight. Steve Hunter running the show. But who have you got alongside you, Steve?
I don't know about running the show, but you're too kind, my friend. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, we've got former Red Neil Mellor alongside us here tonight. How special is it to get Champions League football back at Anfield, by the way, folks? This is what it's all about. Recently, we celebrated 60 years since our first ever game in Europe. That's some going. And tonight, this is Liverpool's 250th game in Europe's Premier Club competition. That's pretty special, isn't it? Imagine the atmosphere would be pretty good. By the way, the Bologna fans, there's a lot of them here inside Anfield. I was here early, and they're packed in as we speak now, and they've certainly been making their noise felt tonight. Would you believe this is our 4th successive game against Italian opposition as well here? We beat AC Milan in our opening Champions League group game, and of course the bad night against Atalanta last season, who of course, to be fair, did go on to win it against Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen. But if you're looking at goals, and the Egyptian king Mohamed Salah, doesn't he? He writes his own history every week. He's got 8 in his last 8 Champions League games for Liverpool, and with 47 European goals for Liverpool. How about this? He's the first player for a single club, that's one single club, to score more goals in Europe than any other player in European history. And we're talking about Ronaldo, Messi amongst those players. That is absolutely staggering, isn't it, here today? But of course, Arne Slot's first experience of a Champions League night at Anfield, there's no doubt about it. He's got to be impressed, isn't he? Of course he is. And hopefully a Liverpool win here tonight. Rob, it's back to you.
Steve, thank you very much indeed. If you're watching us on social media, you're about to leave us, but if you want to sign up to LFC TV, liverpoolfc.com/watch for all the details on how to do so. As for our coverage for the rest of the evening, lots to come between now and 8 o'clock. We will hear from the Liverpool midfielder Alexis McAllister, and then Steve and Neil will guide you through the game from 8. And then Jay and Jason will be back alongside me at 10 o'clock, and we'll hear from inside the tunnel at Anfield as well. You'll be able to catch up on all the reaction as well on the podcast, the Reaction Podcast, on our official platforms. And then the full match, which hopefully will be worth watching, is available on LFC TV from midnight. It is European Cup game number 250 for Liverpool tonight. Can they mark it with a win? Can they make it 2 successive wins over Italian opposition in this season's Champions League?